Welcome back. It's time for everyone's favorite sports debate here on Midco SN. Head-to-Head brought to you by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort. A quick rundown of the rules. We put two Midco personalities against each other. I ask up to 5 questions. They each have 30 seconds to prove their point, and the first person to win 3 debates on the day is that day's champion. Going head-to-head today in an epic semifinal matchup with a season on the line. It is Brian Shawn up in West Fargo, and right here in Sioux Falls, Carla Metz. And we also have a special edition for our semifinals and championship rounds, a jury to help decide the winner, featuring Levi Vanderweide, Joseph Beltram, and Max Jensen. Much needed, so now I have no pressure on me. Anyways, we did a coin flip, and Carla won. She has elected to go first. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Question number 1, who is more impressive, LeBron at age 33 as an elite player in the NBA, or Tom Brady at 40 years old as an elite player in the NFL?
All right, well, there's no question that Tom Brady is the GOAT of football. He is the GOAT of all quarterbacks, and he's 40 years old right now and still in the conversation of being the MVP. But the difference here for LeBron James and what makes him more impressive at the age of 33, he's not only the MVP and the GOAT of basketball, the GOAT of the NBA, but he supersedes his own sport. And when people talk about LeBron James, they talk about him being the best athlete ever. And I think that just makes a difference. People call him the Benjamin Button of the NBA and of sports in general, because he just keeps getting younger at the age of 33. But I think the difference there is just that he is the overall better athlete than Tom Brady is.
All right, Shawn?
Oh, I'm definitely going with Tom Brady. I mean, you're talking about there are like 40 players all time in the history of NFL football that have played into their 40s, and half of those are kickers. So that doesn't even really count because they're kickers. And the other half is pretty much quarterbacks, but none that have started and none that have won an MVP into their 40s. And that's what Tom Brady's on track to do. That's the first and only time that will ever be done in the NFL, to have a guy that's playing at that level, has been able to stay healthy that long in a very violent and physical sport like football, and to play at that high of a level, considering the talent around him has not always been that great, to me supersedes everything else. That blows me away what Brady's been able to do.
All right, well, to the jury we go to decide question number 1. What do you got, guys?
I'm going to have to go with Brian on this one. When you have a 40-year-old quarterback with playing into his 40s, winning MVPs, and there's no end in sight still, it's got to go to Brian.
Ooh, Joseph Beltram.
I'm going to have to agree. LeBron James is soft, while Tom Brady is hard.
Oh, my goodness.
Does my vote even count?
Whatever.
Do we get to do we have rebuttals in
You
this
do
or
have
no?
rebuttals.
Okay.
I'll go with Carla.
Nice.
Because
Nice.
I mean, LeBron James is amazing, and these guys already picked Tom Brady. While I agree, Tom Brady is amazing, and he probably is on track for the MVP. What LeBron does is great.
All right, Max, it's not your turn on the show, but thanks for voting.
Thanks for the
Okay,
vote.
question number 2. Brian Shawn, you are 1-0. Question 2. Who is the most surprising team to be in the FBS playoffs?
I'm going to go out of the realm of what people think and say Clemson. And the reason I say that is Clemson, after winning a title, lost to Deshaun Watson, who left early, Mike Williams, and Ben Boulware. Arguably, their 3 best players on their team are gone, and you replace those guys and are able to get the 1 seed again. That's hard to believe that they've been able to do that based on the talent they lost on both sides of the ball. That really doesn't get done in the FBS ever. Alabama is about the only team to do it. For Clemson to do that based on the talent they lost at the skill positions is even more impressive than what they did last year. So that's why I'm going with the Tigers.
All right, Carla.
All right, well, I think you have to go to the beginning of the season to answer this question. And for me, it's Georgia, of course, mainly because it's their second-year head coach in Kirby Smart. And then you got to go back to the very beginning of the season in the Appalachian State game, where their starting quarterback, Jacob Eason, gets hurt. And by the way, he was the #1 recruit in the country for a quarterback in high school. So he gets hurt. You got a true freshman, Jake Fromm, who comes in straight from high school. So he goes from high school football to playing 13 games, starting in 12. At the very beginning of the season, they only beat Notre Dame by 1 point. So you thought, well, maybe that was lucky, but then they go on this streak. They did. You start to think that again, maybe when they're losing to Auburn in the regular season by as many points as they did, but then they beat them in the SEC championship. I just think from the beginning of the season, you probably didn't have Georgia in that conversation.
Ooh, rebuttals at all? All right, to the jury, starting with Max this time.
I'm going to go with Carla.
Question mark?
No.
Yeah,
no,
really.
That's a straight answer. I'm going with Carla.
Okay.
I think Georgia and being able to overcome the loss to Auburn is why I'm going to go with Carla.
I'm going to go with Carla as well because Georgia was the more surprising team. And congratulations to Kirby Smart. $500,000 bonus for making the top 4.
Yes.
I believe I just tell
Not that it matters. I was also going to go with Carla. Jake Fromm
Sweet.
stepped in. He was the leading passer in every single one of Georgia's games this season.
All
As a true
right.
freshman. Yeah.
All tied up 1-1. We are on to question number 3 for Carla Metz. Which of the 5 championship Bison teams was the best?
Okay, this isn't even debatable, not at all. It was the 2013 team. They went undefeated in that year, 15-0. They beat Kansas State to start that season. They had 7 players from that team that are now in the NFL, 2 of which are in the CFL, and then they've got 3, at least 3, maybe even more, that are on coaching staffs right now. So this team just knows everything about football. They beat teams by an average of 27.4 points that year, and then in the playoffs, they beat them by 32.7 points. The closest game was 28 points, and that was in the championship against Towson. When you ask the guys on the team, it's unanimous between them two. They felt unbeatable in that season. If you talk about a team that maybe wants Bama, maybe that was the team that wanted it.
Ooh, all right, Shawn, give it a go.
I can't argue it wasn't the 2013 team because I was there for every single game and I was there for the national championship run. And to be honest with you, I'm going to take it a step further. That 2013 team to me is the best FCS team in the history of college football because they were just that dominant. I mean, Carla rattled off the numbers, but beyond that, the season was pretty much boring. It was like the Victors Tour in the Hunger Games. I mean, they just kind of show up and whatever, and the game was over at halftime. It was boring, but it was a fun boring because we all got to enjoy the ride along the way. And again, the only close FCS game they had was a last-minute victory over Northern Iowa. So I can't argue that. It was the best team, but I'm going to say it not only the best of the 5 Bison teams, but the best FCS team ever.
Hey, I was in Frisco that year too, and yeah, the UNI game only 1 point, but yeah, very dominant team. And like I said, when you talk to the players, there's no argument there. That's, you know, kind of how like old men talk about like the glory days. They talk about the 2013 season in that way. Very endearing.
Oh man! All right, to the jury, starting with Levi.
I'm going to have to go with Carla. I think the coin flip helped her with this one.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Brian on this one.
Ooh.
Just because, you know, he said he was there for every single snap.
Ooh.
Wow.
I was
Pressure.
most.
I will go, although I like the stats, I mean, being called the greatest
wow.
FCS team ever, we'll go with Brian on this one.
Okay, Shawn. Up 2-1. We're on to question number 4. Getting intense here.
Yes.
All right, most impressive Summit League win so far over a non-conference team this year. Shawn.
I'm going with NDSU over Missouri State, and that's what the numbers say. I know everybody's going to look at the Power 5 wins for South Dakota State over Iowa and also against Ole Miss. But NDSU beat a team on the road in Missouri State, their only home loss this season. And Missouri State, the preseason Valley favorites, have the highest RPI of any win over a Summit League team has over opponent at 60. Ole Miss 149. It's a good win. It's a Power 5 win. But the win at Missouri State to me is what stands out for North Dakota State, holding a team that has an NBA prospect down in that game and able to win a gutty game in the 50s on the road. That showed a lot to me.
All right, Carla.
All right, I looked through all of the schedules too, and I'm going to have to agree that it was NDSU's early win over Missouri State because just like Brian said, to have a legitimate answer here, you need to see who the other teams actually played. And Ole Miss and Iowa right now are not having great seasons at all. NDSU, of course, beat Missouri State, and then what Missouri State has been able to do since that game, they beat Colorado State by 10 points. They beat South Dakota State by 20 points, and I think everybody thought that was going to be a closer game, so dominance there. And then to go back up into Fargo after losing to NDSU at home to beat them by 13 points was very impressive. And like you said, they're picked to win the Missouri Valley this season. I think that was the most impressive.
And Carla, who's the other team to beat Missouri State this season?
Georgia Southern.
There you go.
By 1. That was a close one too. So.
All right.
Neutral
Okay.
court game.
Yes.
To the jury we go. We're starting with, who did we start with last time? All right, Max, go for it.
I'm picking Carla to make this interesting down to the last question.
Is that a mercy?
Well, this one really made me sweat. You know why? Because Carla disrespected my Iowa Hawkeyes.
Oh, my God.
Favoritism. Boo.
And I just want to hear the next question, so I'm going with Carla.
Oh, you guys. Nice. All right, all tied up. Look at that. Okay. Question number 5 for all the marbles. Season on the line. My palms are sweating. Okay. Commissioner Roger Goodell got a 5-year extension yesterday. If you were the NFL commissioner, what would be your first order of business? Carla.
Okay, well, to take this question seriously, first off, I would make sure that Roger Goodell cannot get anywhere close to the NFL again. Ban him from the NFL. Have any decisions that he could possibly make regarding the NFL. Just get him away. I guess I can't really say what he's like as a person, but as a commissioner, he's made some very questionable calls over the years, and I think everybody wished that he probably hadn't gotten the extension. There's some corrupt things going on behind the NFL, I think, and so my first issue there would be to maybe expose those and kind of clean house from top to bottom. But the third and most important is to figure out a way to make the game safer. I think the NFL is kind of in danger of being extinct in a couple of years, maybe even further down the road. But figure out a way to make this game safer. Talk to players, talk to coaches, talk to the scientists that have the answers. Don't ignore that, but make it a safer game so that we can still have a league for professional football. I think that is super important.
All right, Shawn.
So was it one thing or 3 things there, Carla? I'm just trying to.
Most important.
Number 1, you would not last very long as a commissioner if you tried to get behind all the shady deals behind the scenes, because those aren't going away. That's going to last no matter who the commissioner is. Good luck with that. Because there's owners and players, that's why. I would get rid of 2 preseason games because the fans don't care about them. The players definitely don't want to play them. And beyond that, I think the season ticket holders are forced to buy those 2 preseason games if they want regular season tickets. I think that's unfair to the fans. Get rid of the preseason games, and also get rid of the Cowboys and Lions having to play every week on Thanksgiving. Thank you.
All right, Brian, don't underestimate me. You got to set the bar high. Have big, lofty goals, right? You got to.
That is lofty. That is lofty.
And like I said, the biggest one is to figure out a way to make the game safer.
All right, well, to the jury deciding someone's season fate, guys, starting with Mr. Levi.
This one's a tough one, but I'm going to go with Brian.
Aw.
He stayed within the 30 seconds.
I stayed within 1 minute.
It's just I'm passionate about it, okay?
60 seconds, 90 seconds. I stayed within all that.
And we haven't held that rule at all this season. I just want to point that out. Yeah.
Thank goodness for the jury to hold us accountable.
Okay.
This one is tough for me.
It's like you can't take both.
I think I'm going to go with Carla. This one's Carla. This one? Nope, this one. All right, I'm going to go with Carla because I loved how she called out Roger Goodell and his alleged mafia ties.
Thank you.
Okay, Max.
This might
This is a lot of pressure.
This might get the hashtag Carla eye roll on this one, but
Season's over.
I got to go with Brian too.
Oh my goodness!
Because those preseason games are useless. I mean, 2 of them you don't even know the guys that are going to play, and they don't even make the team. And obviously the Vikings have played the last 2 Thanksgivings, but get different teams on Thursday during Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but if the NFL's not around, then we won't have to worry about any preseason games. So there you go.
I'm just impressed that I was able to go on the road with a Sioux Falls jury and a Sioux Falls opponent and a Sioux Falls host and win on the road. That is as important, as impressive as NDSU winning at Missouri State.
Georgia Southern just can't get past the semis, can we?
All right, that concludes the longest head-to-head battle we've ever had so far. But thank you guys for playing. Congratulations, Shawn, Carla, valiant effort. All right, if you have any topics or questions you'd like debated, join the conversation. Let us know, especially for the semifinals and championship. You can tweet them at me, that's at StuartMidcoSN, or to our network account at MidcoSN. We always love to hear from you guys. Coming up after the break, North Dakota Hockey hits the road this weekend, and we'll preview their upcoming series with St. Cloud State. Stay tuned.